He gave a speech that night. In front of 60 people, he talked about how I had changed his life. How lucky he was. How sure he was about our future. His voice even cracked a little at the end. He was that good, and people around me started wiping their eyes. I raised my glass with everyone else. I smiled in every photo. And when he looked at me across that rooftop with everything he had built shining behind him, I looked right back. Because I already knew everything. The fake papers he had signed with my name. The hidden money. The other woman. The plan he had carefully put together. The one where I lost everything and he walked away free into a new life with a richer, more powerful family. I had known for 11 weeks. I had sat across dinner tables and smiled. I had held his hand at cake tastings and flower shops and wedding venue tours. I had said, this one is perfect at exactly the right moments. It was perfect. Just not for him. My name is Serena Bennett. I was 27 years old when Jordan Reeves came into my life. I work with numbers for a living. I had built everything I owned from nothing. My own apartment, my own car, and a savings account I had been growing since I was 23. I am good with patterns. I notice when things don't add up. I say this not to tell you how smart I am. I say it so you understand how good he had to be to fool me. A man who can make someone like me stop checking the numbers is not a careless man. He plans everything. Jordan did not fall in love with me. He picked me. There is a big difference. And it took me 2 years to understand it. He did not chase me. He studied me. We met at a work event. He was 33.
Calm.
Sure of himself. The kind of man who really listened when you talked and remembered everything you said. The next morning, he sent me a helpful article, not a flirty message, not a compliment. Just something useful. I remember thinking, this one actually pays attention.
He did.
He paid attention. He found out what made me feel safe. He found out what I missed growing up, someone steady, someone who showed up. He learned exactly what kind of love I had always wanted. Then he became that person that I grew up watching my mother give everything to men who just took it. I promised myself I would never be her, but I became something worse. I became the woman who didn't see she was being used, not by another person, but by a plan. You carry too much on your own, he used to say. You don't have to anymore. I believed him. Those words cost me more than I ever knew. What he was really doing. By month 3, he was living in my apartment. By month 6, we were talking about buying a house together. He said he was a business consultant. His money came in and out, some months a lot, some months nothing. I told myself that's just how his work went. I paid rent most months. Groceries. Trips. Even his gym membership. He always said thank you. He said it a lot. He was also very good at making me feel like money didn't matter, like I was too mature and too confident to keep track. That's how he turned a red flag into something that felt like a good quality. He made me feel like my giving was strength, not a door he was walking through. What I didn't know yet was this. Jordan had done this before. Different city. Different woman. Same plan. He was not building a life with me. He was using me as a stepping stone. 8 months in, I brought up opening a shared savings account. I want us to build something together. I told him. He agreed right away. I thought that meant he was serious about us. I didn't know yet that it just meant it was easy for him. I put in $2,500 every month. He put in $800 when he could, sometimes less, sometimes nothing at all. Over 10 months, I added $25,000 to that account. He added $4,200 total. I didn't check the numbers closely at first because I didn't think I had to. I trusted him. He was counting on that. He asked me to marry him on a Friday evening. My sister had set up what I thought was an early birthday dinner. A private room. Nice lighting. When I walked in and saw my mother, she had flown in from out of state, plus my closest friends, the table covered in flowers, I thought the surprise was the dinner. Then Jordan stood up. He said my name. He talked about things so small and so specific about me that the whole room went quiet. He talked about the first time I fell asleep on his shoulder on a train. The way I laugh when something surprises me. The way my face changes when I talk about something I care about. He said he had never been so sure of anything in his life. He got down on one knee and opened a small white gold ring box. The ring was exactly the style I had once pointed at in a shop window and said, If it ever comes to that, I would want something simple like that. He had remembered. Or I thought he had. I said yes before he even finished asking. The room went crazy. My mother had her hand on her chest. My sister was already crying. I have never been happier than I was in that moment. I hold on to that now. Not because it hurts, but because it shows me how well a person can fool you when they have spent years learning exactly what you love. The first sign was small. 3 weeks after he proposed, I logged into our shared account to move some money for a wedding venue deposit. The balance was $11,400 less than it should have been. I went still. I thought it was a bank mistake. I called the bank. It was not a mistake. 3 separate transfers. Over 6 days. The last one came 4 days before he got down on one knee. Something cold moved through my chest. I closed my laptop and told myself there had to be a reason. For 2 weeks I waited for him to bring it up on his own. He never said a word about it. Not once. He was already thinking about the next amount he would take. I did not go to him with what I knew. Not because I was scared, but because I understood how he worked. Jordan was a very good liar, not the panicky kind who says too much. The calm kind. The kind who looks you in the eye and makes you feel like your worry is the real problem. He didn't yell. He twisted things. If I went to him without proof, he would explain it away. He would act hurt. He would be patient. He would make me feel like I had done something wrong by asking. And I would end up saying sorry. I had done that before over smaller things. Not this time. This time I needed to see the full picture before I made a move. What I found. I started writing down everything. Every money transfer. Every time something didn't match what he told me. Every conversation about money I saved quietly. Then I found the receipt. It had been sent to the shared email we set up for wedding planning. He forgot to delete it. The ring cost $11,350. Paid with a card linked to our shared account. Bought 11 days before he proposed. He had used my own money to buy the ring he proposed to me with. But that was not the worst thing I found. I hired a private investigator. What she found changed everything. Jordan had done this before. 2 other women. 2 other cities. 5 years of the same thing. Every time, he moved fast, got close, shared money accounts, quietly took from them, then left. None of those women reported him. None of them went to the police. They just moved on and blamed themselves. He had never been caught because he was very good at picking women who trusted quickly and spoke up slowly. He thought he had picked the right type again. Then the investigator found something even worse. Jordan's consulting company was fake. No real clients. No real money coming in. He had made up a professional life and kept it going for 2 full years. But the worst part was what he had done with my name. A long time ago, I had shown him some financial tools I used for work, back when I thought we were partners. He had used those tools to move money through accounts with papers that had something that looked like my signature. He wasn't just taking my money. He was setting up a situation where if anyone ever found out about the missing money, my name would be on the paperwork. Not his. He hadn't just planned to take from me. He had planned to leave me holding the blame on his way out. Her name was Isla Monroe, 25 years old. Her father was one of the most powerful property developers in the city. Jordan wasn't just cheating on me. He was planning to marry into her family for money and power. I was the person he had been draining to pay for the lifestyle that would impress her family. Once he locked in that marriage, he was going to walk away from me with nothing left behind, except my name on some bad paperwork. He had not picked me because I was easy to fool. He had picked me because I was strong and capable, and when strong, capable people fall apart, they usually do it quietly. He had completely the wrong idea about me. Her name was Patricia Owens. She handled financial fraud cases. 11 years of experience. A colleague who had been through something similar pointed me to her. I laid everything out on her desk. The bank records. The ring receipt. The investigator's findings. The fake papers with my name. The fake company. The 2 previous women he had done this to. She read through all of it without saying a word. Then she looked up at me. You haven't said anything to him yet. No, I said. Good. Keep it that way. She paused. When is the engagement party? 6 weeks from now, I said. She nodded slowly. Let him plan it. Let him invite everyone. Let him give his big speech. Why? I asked. Because 60 people watching is better than any single piece of paper, she said. A man who plans a party is a man who thinks he has already won. She closed the folder. We want him to think that, right up until he doesn't. 11 weeks of smiling. So I let him plan the engagement party. I smiled at venue choices. I talked about the guest list. I said yes to flower arrangements. I held his hand through every meeting and said, I love this, and this is perfect in all the right places. I also kept going with the wedding planning, venue visits, food tastings. A Saturday morning at a flower shop where he squeezed my hand and said, can you picture it? I could. That was the hardest part, because even after you learn who someone really is, your heart still remembers who you thought they were. You can still feel the old happiness. You can still reach it. I reached for it every day for 11 weeks. And while I smiled and planned and looked like a woman who had everything she wanted, I was quietly doing something else. I moved my savings into a new account that only I could access. I kept records of every payment, every booking, every deposit made in both our names. I worked with Patricia's team to send everything to the right people at the government level, quietly, carefully. He thought he was still one step ahead. He was not. The night, I almost gave it away. I have to tell you about the night I almost ruined everything. It was a Tuesday. Jordan was cooking dinner, something he did when he was in a good mood. He was humming. He looked totally relaxed, comfortable in an apartment I paid for, with food I bought, wearing a watch he had bought with money from my account. My phone buzzed. A notification from the shared account. A deposit. $200. His contribution for that month. $200. I thought about the $25,000 I had put in. The ring he bought with my own money. The fake papers with my name on them. The other woman. The plan to walk away and leave me with the mess. Something came up inside me that I had to push back down. I wanted to put everything on that counter right then and make him explain all of it. Instead I said, smells good. Almost ready, he said, smiling at me over his shoulder. I looked back at my phone. Patricia, and I had a call the next morning. I could hold on one more night. The night of the party, Jordan was at his best. 60 guests. A rooftop with lights everywhere. Champagne. A live string quartet. The exact flowers I had once circled in a magazine because he remembered those things. That was his job. Business people. Investors. Isla's father, the man Jordan had been trying to impress for months, stood across the room raising his glass. Jordan pulled me to the center of the room and gave his speech. He talked about how I had changed his life, how lucky he was, how sure he was about everything. His voice cracked a little. He was very, very good. I stood next to him with my hand in his and smiled in every photo. Because taped to the back of the flower arrangement behind us, those exact flowers from the magazine, was a small recording device. The florist had been very helpful about placing it. Everything Jordan said that night, in front of 60 people, was now recorded. And the people who needed to see Patricia's report had already received it 2 days before the party. The party was not the start of Jordan getting caught. It was the moment everything was confirmed. I waited until the party was slowing down, until the speeches were done, the glasses refilled, the night settling into that calm, happy feeling of a successful evening, until Jordan was relaxed and certain everything had gone perfectly. Then I asked him to come with me to the small private room the venue had put aside for us. He came in smiling. I closed the door. I put the folder on the table. What is that? He asked. Everything, I said. I opened it. Slowly. 1 page at a time. Bank records. 41 payments taken from my accounts. Every one with a note explaining what it was. The ring receipt. His name. My account number. The date he bought it. The fake papers. His writing. My name. The investigator's report. The 2 other women, the same pattern going back 5 years. The fake company. The hidden money transfers. The official letter from Patricia Owens. And on the last page, a word-for-word copy of the speech he had just given in front of 60 people. He did not speak for a long time. His face went through a few different looks very fast. Then, it went completely blank. He tried 3 things. First, confusion, staring at the papers like he was seeing them for the first time and had no idea what they meant. Then excuses, there was a reason. Things had gotten complicated.
He was going to tell me.
He was going to put the money back. He just hadn't wanted to worry me. Before I noticed, I said quietly. Then he tried the thing that had always worked before.
He cried.
Real-looking tears. The kind that had probably worked in other rooms, with other women who were sitting exactly where I was sitting. I have a problem. I know that. I've been trying to deal with it. I didn't want to lose you. What we have is real. I really did love you. I let that sit for a moment. You didn't try to deal with it, I said. You tried to get married before I figured it out. The ring cost $11,000, I continued. The wedding venue deposit you kept pushing for would have been another $8,000. And you had already set things up, so that if anything went wrong, my name was on it, not yours.
He didn't say anything.
That silence told me everything I needed to know. I stood up. Patricia Owens will call you by Wednesday. All communication from now on goes through her. If you try to contact me directly, her office will treat it as harassment. If you try to access any of my accounts, the banks already know. If you go near my apartment, the locks were changed this morning. I have already filed for restraining order. He stared at me. I loved you, he said. I looked at him for a moment. No, I said. You acted like you did. And you were very convincing. But real love does not steal. Real love does not fake documents. Real love does not build a plan to destroy someone on the way out. I picked up the folder. I picked up my bag. I walked out through the party, got my coat, thanked the manager at the door, and got into the car I had booked 2 hours earlier. I had known exactly when I was going to leave. I called my sister. She picked up on the first ring. It's done, I said. Come over, she said right away. Within 2 days of the party, Jordan's business partners started asking questions. Within a week, 2 of them had pulled their money out. His bank accounts were frozen while the investigation started. His value on paper dropped. He went quiet on social media. Isla Monroe's father, the man Jordan had spent months trying to get close to, put out a short statement. His company was pausing all new partnerships while legal matters were sorted out. Isla stopped posting, stopped appearing in public. The man who had stood on that rooftop talking about trust and love and the future had, within 10 days, disappeared. The whole thing he had built, his reputation, his image, the look of a successful man on his way up, had been built on one thing. Me. And I had just taken that away. The civil case lasted 4 months. Patricia's team had everything. The proof was solid. The fact that he had done this to 2 women before showed it wasn't an accident. It was a pattern. His lawyers tried to negotiate down twice. Both times Patricia told them the criminal case was still on the table if they wanted to keep pushing. Both times they backed off. He agreed to a settlement. He paid back all the money he had taken, plus my legal costs. He signed a document admitting what he had done. The agreement also stopped both of us from publicly attacking each other. He paid everything within 60 days. I reported him to the police anyway. Not because of the money. Because of the 2 women before me. Because of the fake papers with my name. Because of the plan he had built where I would end up holding all the blame. Neither of those previous women had gone to the police. Both of them had just swallowed the loss and moved on, the way women are often expected to do when a man takes from them and makes it seem like their fault. I gave the police everything. The full record of what he had done and how long he had been doing it. Both previous women agreed to talk. The investigation was not small or quiet. The fake papers were confirmed. The stolen money was confirmed. Multiple criminal charges. The judge handed down the sentence. 5 years in prison. All his assets taken. Banned from ever being in a leadership role at a company again. Jordan finally understood, sitting in that courtroom, what he had gotten wrong about me. He hadn't underestimated how much I loved him. He had underestimated how precise I could be. Before he was taken to prison, Jordan asked to see me. I agreed. Just once. He looked smaller. Not in size. Just the way people look when they can no longer pretend to be the person they were performing for years. Why? He asked. Why not just take the money and move on? Because of the women before me, I said. Because you put my name on bad paperwork. Because you were counting on me to stay quiet. He was quiet for a moment. I never thought you'd come back at me like this, he said. I didn't come back at you, I said. I just finished what you started. He looked at me for a long time. I did love you, he said quietly. I thought about it honestly. I think I believed him. In whatever small way, he was capable of it. That was the sad part, and it was his problem, not mine. Real love doesn't steal, I said. Real love doesn't plan someone's destruction and call it an exit. I stood up. You didn't make me, I said. You just showed me what I was already capable of. I walked out. I did not look back. My mother called me the night after the party. I had not told her what had happened yet.
She called anyway.
Mothers always know. How are you? I'm okay, I said. Actually okay.
A pause.
What happened? I'll tell you when I see you. But Mom, you were right. About staying sure of yourself first. Oh, sweetheart, she said quietly. She flew in the following weekend. We sat at my kitchen table, and I told her everything from the beginning. She held my hand across the table and just listened. She didn't cry. She didn't interrupt. When I was done, she said, I am so proud of you. Not for catching him. Not for the money I got back. Not for the prison sentence. For not turning into someone I wasn't in order to do it. I kept the ring in a drawer in the spare room for 3 months. I did not open that drawer. When I finally did, I took it to a different jeweler, not the one he had bought it from. I asked her to break it apart. The stone went into a simple pendant on a thin chain. Something I chose for myself, with no big meaning, except one. The 11 weeks. The patience. The record-keeping. The Tuesday nights where I said, smells good, when what was going on inside me could have brought down the whole room. I wore that pendant on the day I opened my new savings account. Just my name. A fresh start no one else could touch. I put the settlement money in that same day. I sat in my car outside the bank and thought about 23-year-old me, opening her first savings account, planning everything with full seriousness. She would be proud. I was proud of her too. When people hear the story, they focus on the stolen money or the prison time. Those were not the deepest wounds. The deepest wound was that I stopped trusting myself. There had been small moments, things that were easy to brush aside, when something in me said something was off. A call he stepped outside to take. A question I started to ask and then swallowed because I didn't want to seem like the suspicious type. He never called me paranoid out loud.
He was too careful for that.
Instead, he created a life that was so warm and so steady that my own doubts seemed crazy even to me. He made my concerns feel like flaws. He made my gut feelings feel like insecurity. That is his real skill, not telling convincing lies, making you stop believing your own truth. Being cheated on breaks your heart. But this kind of emotional manipulation breaks your trust in yourself. And putting that back together was the hardest work, and nothing in the legal case helped with it. That was work I had to do on my own in the quiet months that came after. Talking about money is not romantic. Most people find it hard to bring up in a new relationship. We have been told that asking about money early is rude, pushy, or a sign that you don't trust the other person. We are told to lead with trust and let the details sort themselves out later. That discomfort is a door. And certain types of people have spent a long time learning how to quietly walk through it. The shared account felt like closeness. It felt like building something real together. It was actually a weak spot dressed up as a loving step forward. Someone who truly loves you will not feel threatened when you want to understand your own money. Someone who is using you will make you feel like asking questions means you don't trust them. That feeling, like checking on your own account makes you a bad partner, is one of the clearest warning signs you will ever get. You are allowed to look.
You are allowed to check.
You are allowed to understand exactly what is happening with your money and who has access to it. That is not doubt. That is taking care of yourself. 8 months after the settlement, I was asked to speak at a women's business event. They wanted me to talk about building a career. The practical side, planning, money, growth. I talked about that for 20 minutes. Then I said, there's something else I want to share with you, if that's okay. I told the story straight. No acting. No drama. Just the facts, the warning signs, and what I did step by step. When it was over, 4 women stayed back until almost everyone else had left the room. Each one said something like the same thing. I think this is happening to me right now. I gave all 4 of them Patricia's contact details. 3 of them followed up. 2 of those cases went to court. The only way a pattern stops is when someone breaks it. I was able to break it because I had the right information at the right time. Now I was passing that on. If you are reading this and something feels familiar, not the exact details, maybe just the feeling, listen to it. That quiet feeling that something is not quite right, even if you can't explain why. The small ways you talk yourself out of your own thoughts. The way the person you love makes your concerns feel like your personal problem. Listen to that feeling. Not because your gut is always right, but because training yourself to ignore your gut is exactly what people like him need you to do. You are allowed to ask questions. You are allowed to look at money records. You are allowed to slow down and make sure you understand what you are agreeing to before you agree. That is not being suspicious. That is knowing yourself. Stay sure of yourself first. My mother told me that before I truly understood it, I had to learn it the hard and expensive way. But I learned it. And it is the most valuable thing I have to— He thought I was soft. I was. Being soft is not the same as being weak. Soft means you feel things deeply. It also means you remember things deeply. He proposed with my money. He planned a wedding using my patience. He built his future on my trust and planned to put the blame on me when he left. What he forgot to account for was this. When I build something, I build it properly. I am 29 years old. I have my own apartment, my own savings, a job I built with nothing but my own hard work. I have a mother who flew in from out of state to sit across from me at my kitchen table and hold my hand until I was finished talking. I have a sister who answered on the first ring. I have a lawyer named Patricia who made 2 sets of opposing lawyers back down with a single document. And I have the thing that money cannot buy, and no one can take once you have earned it. Clarity, not the anger, not the relief, not the happiness of watching the settlement clear my account. Just the clear, hard-won knowledge of who I am when someone tries to make me question it. The knowledge that I did not turn cruel. I did not act out of rage. I did not give him the loud reaction he would have used against me. I prepared. I wrote everything down. I let him plan the engagement party. I raised my glass while he gave his speech. And then I put a folder on a table in a private room and let the truth do what it always does when you give it enough time, enough patience, and enough proof. My savings account has a new name on it. Just mine. The balance is the highest it has ever been, not because of the settlement, but because I stopped paying for someone else's dream and started building my own. People sometimes ask if I wish I had said no. I think about it honestly every time. And then I think about the woman standing at that birthday dinner, surrounded by everyone she loved, watching a man get down on one knee with a ring she had unknowingly paid for herself. She was so happy. That happiness was real. It just wasn't the full truth. And the full truth, even the hard, expensive, embarrassing full truth, was always worth more than a beautiful lie. I don't regret saying yes. I just know now what to look for before I say it again. And I know the difference between a man who chose me and a man who figured me out. He built his empire using me. He thought I was just the base. He was right. I'm the reason it's still standing. Under my name.